Okay, everyone, so nice to see you all. Welcome to the meditation class. And as always, I will just give a little bit of instructions first of all, and then we can try it out in practice afterwards. So, as always, the most difficult thing in a way in meditation is to give rise, for most people anyway, to give rise to the mindfulness. To get established in the present moment is the hard part. And once mindfulness has arisen, then it is often so much easier to follow the breath or to do whatever. But to have that kind of stable awareness, a kind of pleasant awareness in the present moment without too much thinking going on, and all of that, that's often the hard part. And there are a number of ways in which you can encourage the mind, and most of those ways are really about just getting in and enjoying what is happening now, having the right attitude, if you like, to the present moment. And one of the great suttas of the Buddha, where he talks about how to get into the present moment, it's called the Bad Eka Ratta Sutta, One Fortunate Night. And what that sutta says, very simply, and we all know this already, is that the future, is uncertain, hasn't arrived yet, and the past is all gone. So this is kind of the time. This is where you have insight. This is where you kind of hang out. Is in the present moment. And when you think about it, it makes so much sense, right? The only reality is now, as they say, which is just so true. And yet somehow, when you eventually sit down and you sit back and you try to do that, still the mind goes into the future, goes into the past, goes into fantasy land, goes into kind of tiredness or whatever. It doesn't really want to do it. So we still need that is a good start, but we still need some more skillful means to actually establish it right here in the present moment. And one of the ways to do that, and that really drives home this idea that the future hasn't arrived yet, that is uncertain and all this, and that is to just do a little bit of death contemplation before you get into the meditation itself. Just remind yourself that life is uncertain, and of course it is often much more uncertain than we are willing to really admit, right? It's just completely unknown what the future has in store for us. And so you remind yourself that death is around the corner. Death is potentially around the corner, and if it is, it means, of course, that the future is not only uncertain; it is really uncertain in a very profound sense. So one way to do this in practice is to kind of imagine that while you're sitting in meditation here. You may not leave this hall again in the future, right? This may be the last thing you do, is just sitting here in meditation in this hall. And of course, if this really is the last thing that you do, and all of the nonsense about the future, all the nonsense about the past, all the nonsense that belongs to this world, all the thinking that always distracts us from these things, it becomes kind of irrelevant. It becomes actually utterly irrelevant. And what really is relevant is what we're doing now, purifying the mind, allowing the mind to settle down, giving rise to that mindfulness. And what happens is that instead of that being some kind of negative thought, it's actually really beautiful. It gives rise to peace, it gives rise to ease, it gives rise to a sense of a relaxedness. And all of those beautiful qualities actually arise out of something which the vast majority of people will think, oh, that's really a negative thought to think about death. No, it's not. It's actually very beautiful and very peaceful. So try to bring this idea of death into the present moment, that who knows what's going to be around the corner. And sometimes it doesn't matter what your age is, right? These things are often completely irrelevant because you don't know that. Now is the only reality. This is what you have got. Why waste your time with anything else? And then see if that can kind of stabilize your mind, get rid of some of the restlessness, some of the thinking, some of the fantasizing, some of the tiredness, all of these things that belong to this world and have nothing to do with where you might be going into the future life or whatever it is. So give it a shot, see what happens, and so let's do some meditation together. Okay, so as always, make sure you start out with finding that ease in the body. First of all, no pain. And secondly, that you make sure that you relax 100%. The more thoroughly you relax at the beginning of the meditation, the more easeful the meditation tends to become. So take exactly as much time as you need to really relax and really feel good. And try to get to that point where it's almost like you don't want to do anything else in the whole world, but sit right here and just relax and enjoy yourself. And just remind yourself of that beautiful teaching of the Buddha, that the future is just inherently uncertain. It's a complete waste of time to hang out in the future. The past is just a distorted memory. You don't really know anymore what happened in the past. The only reality is now. So why live in delusion? Why live in distortion when you have this beautiful opportunity just to emerge into the present moment instead? And just to sharpen that mindfulness even a little bit more, try to imagine, if you can, if you feel comfortable with it, that this is the very last thing that you're doing in this life. There's nothing after this. This is the last event. You once try to get into that perception in your mind, and if you do that, everything else in life kind of fades away and becomes irrelevant. This is it. And from now on, you're moving on into the future, unburdened with everything that has to do with this life. And if you do that properly and you feel relaxed and at ease with it, try to allow that to sharpen your mindfulness even further. And once again we're coming close to the end of the meditation. So before we come to the very end, just try to take stock of what has happened. If you feel better and more peaceful than when you started out, try to understand why that is the case. What are the perceptions that are helpful for peace? What are the intentions that move you in the right direction here? Okay, very good. So that's the meditation for today. Are there any questions or anything anyone has? Everybody happy? Yeah. Okay, we'll just take whatever is from overseas. Yeah, great. Okay, thanks. Okay, so these are the questions from overseas. First one from Laurie in the United States. Can you please explain a good posture or sitting position because my feet fall asleep after about 40 minutes of meditation? Okay, so the idea with the sitting posture in meditation is really sitting in a way that you can really relax and be at ease. The idea is for the body to kind of fade away, right? The body is not something that is really part of the meditation process as such. The body is something you want to get away from, and then you can focus on the mind, on the breath, on the metta, and all of these kind of things. So a good posture is anything that you can sustain, and you can be at ease in, you can be relaxed in for the duration of the meditation, however long that is. And you can, if you find that your feet fall asleep, one of the things you can do is to change your posture on the way. You don't have to sit in one posture and kind of force yourself there. You can move a little bit during your meditation. If you do it carefully, it's not going to have much effect on your meditation as such. Otherwise, there is just whatever posture is. People find lying down to do meditation is quite useful. So any of these postures are okay. Sitting on a chair, sitting on your legs in various positions. If you're going to sit on a chair, sit on a good one where you sit straight and you sit comfortably. If you sit cross-legged, make sure you have enough support, right? And all of these kind of things. And you should be okay. So just experiment a little bit and hopefully find something that works for you. This is from Melissa from Hawaii. Dearest Ajahn, is it possible to make contact with people during meditation? And what is the best way to handle them when they arise? So is it possible? Yes, it is possible to make contact with people during meditation, often the mind when you meditate, especially if the meditation is going well, right? Your mind becomes peaceful, your mind gets energized. It's that kind of time when the mind calms down that often it becomes possible to receive like messages even from other people. But it's very uncertain. Sometimes the things that may appear like a message for somebody else, it may just be the creation of the mind. one of the things about the mind, it is a very powerful creator. It creates all kinds of things. And people have all kinds of perceptions during meditation that have got nothing to do with any reality. It's just a creation of the mind from somewhere. But sometimes it may be a contact with somebody else, right? It may be some kind of, perhaps a feeling of the presence of somebody who has passed away. It's very common for people to, when somebody dies, to kind of have a vivid dream or even a waking experience of somebody who has passed away coming to them afterwards. It's quite a common phenomenon, and I think this is actually often happens because of our attachments to each other. We do actually often have these kind of experiences. And the best way to handle them, if somebody does come to you, is just to usually just to say, say something positive to them. Hello, nice to. Of metta, I wish you well wherever you are now. May you be happy and well, wherever realm, wherever destination you're in, because everybody wants metta in this world. Everybody wants kindness, right? So if you're kind to somebody, it's guaranteed that they will feel happy with that. And if you can see them, well, in meditation, it's quite likely that they can see you as well and even feel your intentions. So wish them well, and hopefully that will be good. Okay. Next one is from Selvi from Indonesia. What kind of meditation should a pregnant woman do to have a child with wisdom and good emotional intelligence? Okay, so the best thing to do is always for the parents, especially the mother, but really all parents, right, to be kind and compassionate to the child. And you can do that before the child is born. Because the child will often feel, I think, your emotional state because it's so close to you. And you know what it's like, you can often feel the emotions of people around us. That's just the way things seem to be. So just be kind and compassionate. Wish your child well. And a child that is, is loved in this world is usually a child that will grow up and have a sense of self-esteem, of self-worth, and they will feel good about themselves. And when you feel good about yourself, you will usually do well in life. You will have the emotional intelligence and wisdom, and you will have a sense of ability to live life well as a consequence. I think this is the most important thing any parent can give a child, is just that love and kindness, so that they feel good about themselves. And then usually their life will turn out well as a consequence. So, if you do your meditation, do a bit of just calming down, be peaceful, and then do a bit of metta on top of that, and send your child some nice and kind thoughts. Okay, so that's all for now, so let's just pay respect to Buddha Dhamma Sangha.